The deadline to save a Japanese hostage has come and gone. And tonight, video has surfaced purportedly showing the beheading of freelance journalist Kenji Goto. He had traveled to Syria in October to help secure the release of another hostage who was killed last week. And as Arthi Pol is here to tell us, the Japanese government admits the efforts to save Goto were deadlocked. Arthi?
Well, Robin, the Japanese government said it was an extremely tough situation. It had been involved in intense negotiations trying to rescue ISIS hostage Kenji Goto. It appears those efforts today may have failed. Late this afternoon, ISIS released a new disturbing video, and they had a message for Japan. Efforts to save ISIS hostage Kenji Goto now futile. An online video has been released purporting to show ISIS militants beheading the Japanese hostage. The Japanese government and the White House are now working to verify that video. 47-year-old Goto was captured last October in Syria. He was trying to save his friend who was being held by ISIS. Last week, the terrorist group killed his friend, and today it appears they've carried out another beheading. ISIS had agreed to release him if Jordan released prisoner Sajida al-Rishawi, a failed suicide bomber detained since 2005. But deadlines for a prisoner swap came and went more than once this week. Now the pressure has intensified for Jordan's government to take action before a Jordanian pilot being held by ISIS suffers the same fate. The pilot's father demanding that the government engage in serious, strong negotiations in order to secure the release of his son. And while negotiation efforts continue with Islamic State militants, fresh attacks by coalition forces are launched against them. Since Friday, 27 airstrikes were carried out in Iraq against the terror group. Kurdish ground troops supported by coalition air forces managed to regain control of the Syrian town of Kobani from Islamic militants. And despite those intense airstrikes, ISIS continues to gain ground and continues to kill hostages from around the world. Late this afternoon, Japan's Prime Minister spoke out saying that the country is outraged and it will work with the international community to try to bring those responsible for this apparent murder of Kenji Goto to justice. Meanwhile, in an interview on Friday, the U.S. Secretary of Defense said in the fight against ISIS, the United States may need to consider sending non-combat ground troops back to Iraq.